We need to look at reversing mass migration.
Under your remigration concept, what happens to Fahima Mohammed?
I think you're an incredibly confused individual.
You want an authoritarian state.
I live in an
Anyone
area in which the white
attacking you-
British person's a minority.
Because they're not giving birth, okay? They're not having babies.
I can go to the Lake District and say Mohammed's a pervert and nothing would happen to me. If I go to Whitechapel, I'll probably be killed.
Why would you do that anyway?
But
You're
some
the
peop-
one that do
But
things
Fahima,
for
a
the
lot of our
clicks.
Britain is suffering a devastating immigration crisis that has seen some of our most cherished towns and cities changed beyond recognition. There are many debates on how we deal with the issue, and one of the proposals which has caused a split on the right is, of course, remigration. This policy calls for not only the removal of illegal migrants and foreign criminals, but also the repatriation of many legal migrants and their descendants who have failed to assimilate into British society. Many argue it's extreme, whereas, of course, I would say it's the only way to save Britain. This is the Clash Takedown, where heavyweights of the right are put on the spot to argue their controversial takes on subjects chosen by us. They have no preparation whatsoever, versus two highly prepared and researched opponents who are on a hell-bent mission to take them down. So, bravely taking on the takedown challenge today is young Bob. He is the 18-year-old street activist sensation going up against the entrepreneur and businesswoman Amy Ansell and the rising star of the Green Party, Fahima Mohammed. So, young Bob, you have 60 seconds to put your case on why you think Britain needs to adopt a remigration policy.
Fantastic. So I want the repatriation of people who are fiscal net drain to the economy, people who fundamentally hate our way of life, and also to redefine a high-skilled worker, and also to remove dependency schemes. I think that is a pretty fair reversal of the pretty liberal migration system within this country. First of all, just because if you receive more into the system than you take out, I feel like you are damaging the social contract that a migrant has to the host country that they're going to. If you look at social integration, I think enclaves that no longer communicate with the wider British community cause for issues like you saw in Northern Ireland, which has the second highest concentration of HMOs. We talked about previously in the other debates about how certain areas of this country are beginning to see civil unrest, but that also happens to also correspond to low population of the native British people, whilst also slowly being demographically replaced with also, if you look at places in like Epping, for example, you saw a summer of unrest there. That was because of migrant hotels that were there without the democratic consent of its people. The issue is that mass migration has never had the democratic consent of its people, which means people are inevitably going to be fed up with it.
Amy Ansell, take him down.
Well, we didn't really talk about illegal versus legal. I don't think that was in your initial monologue, really, because you just said
so
needs remigration, right?
So
I just wanted to differentiate. Do you feel that it's both, or do you feel that it's one?
So I think that an unfortunate thing, and I have to tell right-wingers sometimes, illegal migration, a lot of the times people, when they say illegal, they're referring to the people who come here via a small boat. They're technically legally here. So even the most modest position, even amongst the centre ground, if you look at Keir Starmer, he said we're becoming an island of strangers, you're referring to legal forms of migration. According to the OBS, we have 1.2 million visa overstayers, failed asylum seekers who just scatter and we don't know where they are. We don't know even who they are. I think they should be deported. But also, we need to inevitably look at the millions of people that are already inside our country.
Look, I semi-agree with you. I just think that Britain needs controlled immigration. They need proper integration. They need to basically see who is in this country and why. So I do semi-agree with you, but I don't believe, well, ask the government. The government needs to revisit.
You're a proponent of that idea. The Conservative Party ran on the mandate
I'm not a politician, but I do feel there needs to be reform in that we need to review who is here and why. And I agree with you in that, you know, it is a drain to the system. I'm a taxpayer. I run a small business. Every pound matters. Every pence matters. So when I feel that money is going to the wrong people who are not contributing to society, you know, I agree with you to a certain extent. However, I don't feel like you should blanket.
Do you know what you sound like? You sound like David Cameron when he was on a policy platform to become Prime Minister of sensible migration, tens of thousands. That didn't work. The problem is is the reason why I use the term remigration, which is a pretty harsh term, even in the right-wing context, is because when you talk about, this nice utopia of controlled migration, that obviously hasn't worked. You can potentially move to a system of a more charitable stream of migration. However, immediately we need to look at reversing mass migration, fixing in order what's actually inside the house, which is millions of migrants. So how would you do
that? How would you do that?
Fantastic. So first of all, if you're actually looking at moving towards a system of sensible migration, a lot of people who are more economically to the right love going on about this. A high-skilled worker, technically a butcherer, is considered a high-skilled worker under our current scheme, visa scheme. So I'd get rid of that. A butcherer, yeah, someone who deals in meat.
Okay, a butcher.
I think we should get rid of that. I think also as well, because of a lot of the unions and also the bureaucrats, we don't actually hire native British people. So if you look at the NHS, we could resolve a lot of our labour shortages if we just didn't put a cap of people who are able to go to medical school.
Is the example of the butcher paying taxes in this country?
Well, I'm assuming so, yeah, but I don't think he should be given a high-skilled worker visa. Do you think a butcher is a high-skilled worker?
They need to be contributing to society.
Hold on, do you think a butcher is a high-skilled worker?
High-skilled worker?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're a worker and they're contributing to society.
Are they a high-skilled worker?
Ultimately, people have to be contributing to society, making money, putting money into the system and not just taking out. Okay. I think we agree on that.
Young Bob, under your remigration concept, what happens to Fahima Mohammed? Don't miss a single update on the stories that actually matter. I'm breaking down the news every day, so make sure you subscribe to never miss a beat. Click that subscribe button right now.
Well, for me, you're a fantastic example. So if you generally do push for the doctrines of the Green Party, which I don't think you do, I think you're an incredibly confused individual. You try to promote Islam despite the fact you don't...
Promoting Islam at
You're
all.
a Muslim, but you don't adhere to the core doctrines of the Islamic faith. You are a Green Party supporter, which don't support the leader's statements said publicly.
That's not true.
So currently, if we're looking at the immediate remigration scheme, it wouldn't include people like her, because I'm assuming she contributes to the economy. She doesn't have versatile ideas that fundamentally
Which
apathetic
is majority
to this.
of Muslims, though.
I don't think so. I don't think when 50 Pakistani
So you're
men
not sending Fahima Mohammed home?
No, I don't think that will necessarily...
But Steve Laws would.
Yeah, Steve Laws would. And that's his... well, I think strategically, you do need a vanguard on the right. You do need people to the right of you. Of course, this is the sort of same talking point within reform, which can shift the Overton window and allow for language to be more compatible. However, when we actually get on the table, when people get into power, we talk about, well, are we actually going to enact Steve Laws' policy of total remigration? Well, of course not. What we do want is to reverse demographic change. We want demographic security. We want to live in a monoculture society, and we don't want enclaves. Now, she's not a product of an enclave. She's not dogmatic in her beliefs. I'm assuming she's a net positive contributor to the economy.
I am.
And also selling this to the general public, I do not think saying that we need to deport everyone is actually helpful to the right.
So Fahima, in Young Bob's world, you're staying. Take him down.
Look, I think that remigration is just basically sort of like really another word for mass expulsion for certain minorities and groups. And I totally agree, just like you, when it comes to having, some sort of processes and really being strict on who comes here and making it faster so that we know who is legal and illegal, because that's the problem that we have right now. But that's still a very much minority, right? And when it comes to net migration, that has also dropped significantly. And when it comes to jobs and making people work who are British, like I work with regards to helping people who are neurodiverse, whether they are ex-criminals or coming from DWP. And a lot of them are young, they do want to work, but they do have issues and they do have problems when it comes to the fact that, opportunities are not there because they're not skilled and they don't have certain things. And if they are skilled, again, they've got other mental health issues. So it's a very nuanced and different factors. You're just saying things, again, very binary. And you can throw many labels at me. I have so much. You just only getting started. I'm so used to it. I don't really care what people say.
What labels do you mean?
So at the same time, not Muslim, this, that, and the other, not really part of, Islam or the Green Party or anything. At the end of the day, you need to understand that we live today with regards to the British law. What you're asking for is going against the economy, British law, the civic rights, as well as the values.
Can you identify how my proposed migration policy
I think what you said initially wasn't completely extreme, but what you propose generally online and where you go and sit and how you just like, oh, don't worry, we're not going to keep your kids away. We're going to deport the kids as well. That's just saying
hold on. You were referring to a clip of me saying,
exactly.
But hold on, when I was asked, would you deport children of illegal migrants with their families? I said yes, because that's probably the best thing to do. Because first of all, your parents are responsible for the care of their children, and second of all, I don't want people who probably don't even speak English in a care system that's already broken.
That again, it's an assumption. Those people, they don't not speak English. They speak more than one language, and they probably speak it better than you, by the way. And they have education,
I don't
which
think
is much
someone
higher.
who has English as a second language.
Of course they do. Go look at universities and see who's actually look at the statistics for GCSE and who's the demographic that's actually there out there.
Oh, so you're just going to accuse white working class people of being stupid?
No, but that's the
is that the underlying tone we're going to go with?
Now. That is the statistics right now, that they are really outperforming.
And that's because of multiculturalism, by the way.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
How is it?
Because it's a trampling of the culture of the native British people.
Absolutely not. Everyone is assessed in the same way. Everyone takes the same exams. Everyone in school has the same opportunities. That is absolutely incorrect.
Do you think native white Britons, Fahima, should have any type of advantages for the fact that this is their country, they are indigenous to this country?
Look, I think Britain is not one of those countries like Saudi Arabia. No, they're not a country like Saudi Arabia, which is probably what you want, with Christian supremacy and, remigration and all of that, right? You want an authoritarian state. You want something like Saudi Arabia, but obviously reverse.
We're not doing labels.
So at the same time,
you're not doing labels.
No, I'm just going to mirror you sometimes.
Okay,
but
fantastic.
At the same time, when it comes to it, I'm just saying, look, in order to understand you, that's what you're asking for.
No, okay, so can I clearly clarify? I'm just pro anti-ghetto, like for example, anti-ghetto laws in Denmark and Singapore, right?
No, but those areas that have those people
say that an area of their country shouldn't be some metropolitan ghetto which has high levels of a migrant population which outnumber the native British population, because what inevitably happens,
look,
right?
You need to understand the factors.
Millions of poor migrants who barely speak English, who have apathetical cultures to us. What happens?
Those are the poverty-stricken areas which even happen amongst white English natives, okay? Where they are in areas where they don't have the high level of education skill.
And what happens in those areas, by the way? Because you talked about Northern Ireland, right?
Yes.
Okay. That particular community that rioted came from an extremely impoverished area of Northern Ireland during deindustrialization, which on average has lower educational outcomes. But
so
then
the far right are lower educated. I get that.
No, hold on, because they're not far right. I don't think people in Northern Ireland.
If they are screaming, if there are, but there are studies to show that.
You're going to interrupt the main thrust of my point, right? So Northern Ireland has the second highest concentration of HMOs. They are deeply poor people with low career aspirations and low educational outcomes. What do you think happens?
Well, that is for every society, unfortunately. It happens where, when governments are
maybe
pushing.
Maybe stop
but
it.
it's the governments. It's not everyday people. The governments
are doing that. I agree with you. Governments are enacting unpopular and ineffective policies.
But Fahima, you talk about everyday people. I'm getting pretty disgusted with you constantly describing everyday, normal patriots as far right.
But first, the number one worst fruit for your waistline. Are you turning healthy fruits into highly unhealthy fruits without even realizing it? Fruit can be one of the healthiest things you can put into your body, but the majority of Americans are guilty of making this single mistake that can counteract all of the health benefits of fruit. Some fruits help with occasional constipation, reduce bloating, and even help burn calories. Others can wreak havoc on your digestive system and energy levels. I came across this viral presentation from world-renowned surgeon Dr. Stephen Gundry that showcases the 3 fruits to stop eating today. And it was shocking. I had no idea. And after finding it out, I've stopped eating these too. I'm going to put a link for you all to watch it because I want you to gain this information. I think it's truly important. You can watch it right now at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. That's thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. I also linked it in the description box below the video too, so make sure to click on it or just go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Oh, and by the way, eliminating these fruits could forever change the way we help increase energy levels, decrease brain fog, support digestion, and even lose weight. So make sure to click below or go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken to find out now. Dr. Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research and has kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting. His digestive issues are gone, his health is fantastic, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch and learn more about it at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. It's linked at the bottom of this video, but he'll teach you exactly how he has kept his weight off for free at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Just click on the link in the description below the video. But now, back to the show.
I never said that. I never said that. You're the one that are saying things, and I'm like, well, that's how it is. You're the one that said,
why do you keep using this far-right label, and what do you mean by it?
Well, I'm talking about the ones that are protesting, saying, you don't belong, get out of here. I mean, even in my comment section, that happens all the time. So for me, that is extremism. So again, if I, as a left, go out there and say that, at the same time that we shouldn't fly the flag and we shouldn't do this, which I don't believe in, I have the flag proudly on my profile. People say I don't belong and I shouldn't fly the flag. So you can't get it right either way. And I don't think everyday people are like that. My stepdad is white English, okay? I have family members who are English white. At the same time, we live together in my family, which is completely different to the majority and the norm of Muslims. So yeah, maybe I am unique in many ways. And for that reason, most people don't see, majority of Muslims in that way. Majority of Muslims are Pakistani. I'm not from that background either, or that culture. I was born and raised. That's wrong to say.
You're wearing the costume. You're wearing the costume. You're wearing the outfit.
That's not right to say. It's like me telling Dan, you're not
Catholic.
Just
like an imam
you're
and
not
just like
Catholic because you're
Islam.
gay. Come on, that doesn't work. And that is completely wrong for you to say that I am not Muslim. I will not call you
because the difference between someone struggling with homosexuality and being a Catholic.
No, but you see
someone who says
people very black and white. I don't see that.
No, when it comes to truth claims, yes, I do.
You cannot say that.
Someone's either a cat. Or they're not. Someone's
because
either human,
Muslims are not like, you haven't spoken to enough Muslims to understand.
I spoke to Muslims since I was 15 debating with them.
You go to maybe Speaker's Corner. I would not go there and speak to people.
I live in a demographically replaced area. I've been brought up with Muslims for the entire life.
It's not replaced. It is just the way it is, okay? And at the same time, there are all times.
It is replaced.
But you deliberately, I don't agree
I
with
live in an area in which the white British person's a minority. I've spoken to both liberal Muslims and Orthodox Muslims.
Because they're not giving birth, okay? They're not having babies as well. There's different factors that are involved, not just people that are coming here and living.
People should have children, but we should also have mass deportation.
Amy, how do you feel about this, though, Amy?
With Western culture and civilization.
Because surely, Amy, even being on the liberal side of things, when you hear someone like Bob, who's 18, saying that he lives in a demographically replaced area, that is shocking, isn't it? If we were talking about a different country, you would be horrified.
Well, I see.
You're white. Like, are you not worried about the extinction of white people in this country?
I see the UK as a whole. Obviously, we're like an average. So it doesn't matter if a certain area is more this or more that. I think ultimately
it's the whole capital city, for example. I mean, these are not small.
That's a poor way of looking at it. Yes, nationally, according to the last census, we're like 76%. More realistically, that was before the Boris wave. We're probably looking at 60% white British population. You don't look at nationally.
Why?
Because, the Lake District is going to function and operate and have a different status in terms of where it's at compared to Whitechapel.
But it's always going to be that way.
Hold on. I can go to the Lake District and say Muhammad's a pervert and nothing would happen to me. If you go to Whitechapel, I'll probably be killed.
Why would you do that anyway? And why would you go to certain places?
Because it's true.
No, but it's not nice. I mean, I wouldn't go to
But I
Kent
wouldn't
and
behead
scream
someone
and
for
say,
it.
no, I don't believe in any sort of that. But you wouldn't.
But if I go to Whitechapel,
I
that'd
wouldn't
probably
go
happen.
into an extreme sort of like right sort of area and start screaming. That's provocative.
But if
And
the
that's
right
not
do it, that's
right.
antithetical to their
So,
worldviews of like a free marketplace of
I
ideas.
get it. But you
So the
go,
right wouldn't do
you
that.
go deliberately and you do and say
Well, he's a
things.
provocateur. That is what he does.
Exactly.
But
You're
some
the
peop-
one that do
But
things
Fahima,
for
a
the
lot of our
clicks.
audience
I don't.
think
You
you're
do things
provocative.
for the
But
clicks.
Fahima, a lot of our audience believe the things that you say are highly
I
provocative,
think
far
that
more
they
provocative than
I
what
think
young
they
Bob
say
says.
that not because they're listening to my words. It's because they're just seeing me as a female
but the right
Muslim
don't do that.
brown woman. That's what it is. Because half the
I
time
don't see you
when
as a
you
Muslim,
look
by
at
the way.
that. Okay, you don't have to see me as Muslim. That's fine. I'm not here for you or any other person. There are sort of some Muslims that don't consider me that too, only because I don't follow a certain doctrine that they do, and I don't follow any
just don't follow
extreme.
doctrine.
I do follow doctrine. You
No.
don't know how I live. You don't know I pray
Your religion comes
5
from the middle of your
times.
head.
Okay,
Whatever
but are
wanna
you?
say, that's
but
just
Amy,
really not
Amy,
right.
are
'Cause
you?
I am not extreme.
Okay,
That's
but
the
we've
difference.
but we've had
Well,
that
nothing.
debate. Amy, are you concerned though with the fact that there are areas that are being demographically replaced?
I'm not concerned. I
Okay,
said
fine,
before.
good. We've clarified that. I just needed to make
They're
it
not
clear.
being replaced. That's just how life works.
It's
when people are staying
literal-
together.
it's
You can have no
literal
problem.
replacement.
Hold on. You can have. You don't necessarily have to have a problem with replacement, but it is to claim that the white British population are being replaced both from declining birth rates and also mass migration, right?
I don't think it's mass migration. Like you said, I think certain areas.
What do you think it
everyone
is?
clicks together.
What do you think it is,
Everyone
Fahima?
clicks
They don't
together.
click together. That's the problem.
So that's
when you have
how
an
it
enclave, when you have an
works.
enclave,
That's how
okay,
it works.
So
But it's
if
normal.
if I
It's
live in-
socially normal
if
for
I'm from
people wanna be
Pakistan
with people like
and I go
themselves.
to Whitechapel, right?
exactly.
Or if let's
They're
say
mainly Bangladesh.
Can I just say?
Yes,
can I
lady,
just
come
say?
in.
Excuse me, I'm going to turn you this way. I'm from New York. There's Little Italy. There's Chinatown.
Yeah.
People like to be with
But
those that.
Americanism is the thing is you
Doesn't
can't
matter,
compare.
it's
You can't compare
similar, it's
America. Hold
similar.
on. You can't
Yeah,
compare.
because America says anyone can come in,
But
and
that's
you
because
are
it's a former colony.
American.
Hold on.
all right?
Little
But
Italy.
so
There's
is with-
places where people
Britain
feel
wants integration, but they
comfortable
don't.
with
So
those
do you know,
that are
do
like
you know the reason why it
themselves.
doesn't work is because America is a former colony, which necessitates, right, that you have Europeans, African Americans, Native Americans, all these people coming together and uniting
Yeah.
under a certain
But I
idea.
think, to be
But
honest,
England is a people, right? We have a history
Yeah.
of people who have settled this land.
Who invited loads of other people across the globe
Well, we
as well
didn't.
to come
We
here.
didn't. No, but we didn't, and
well,
that's
you
the
did.
issue.
That's a
No, you
post-Second
did.
War.
No, but you
But
did.
the
And it
native-
helped build the country,
Well,
and it helped
but
with
the
the
native
economy, and it
population
helped
never
bring
approved
the
of
Windrush,
that. Yes.
the Caribbeans, the Jamaicans,
because
the blacks,
Fahima-
the
That's a post-war-
Asians.
Fahima,
That's all of it.
because the government went against the people. This is a big part of the problem.
Most people would not even exist if because of the ancestors that
But
came
Fahima,
here.
I'm not
to
disagreeing
help.
that
So come
invitation was
on.
made. That invitation was made by government. And unfortunately, that's why we're getting into this area of civil war, because I think Amy has actually just made the point, which in some ways proves the argument. People want to be around their own. That is the problem. And because
No, but
we've
it's not
invited
all the
so
time.
many different
no,
cultures
they
in,
want to be around
assimilation
their
is now
own.
impossible.
They want to be around their own to a certain degree.
That's right, to a
That's
certain
the difference.
degree.
But we can still
can't have
get
your
back
cake
to
and eat it
work.
too.
Yes, you
Society.
can.
No,
And
you
we
can't.
are. You're sitting with me right here, right
You can't
now,
be
for
a
God's
Muslim and
sake.
pro-transgender. You
No.
can't have in-group
You
preference
just
and not
say
have
that.
in-group
I
preference.
think you can, and we are, and
Okay.
we do exist.
Okay.
So accept it.
Okay.
You just don't know how to see
Try
nuance.
to square that circle.
Okay.
You can't see nuance.
Stand by.
That's because he's young.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to be this ideological for the rest of my life.
No,
trust
you
me.
won't. I promise you.
Things
You'll probably end up being
change.
Muslim in the end or marrying one.
Mashallah.
You're marrying one.
I'm getting
I promise
married
you
next
that.
summer to a very lovely
So,
Christian woman.
yeah, well, to be fair, marriages end and fail very, very quickly when they start that age.
That's nice of you.
but that's the truth.
Did you hope I get divorced and become a
No,
Muslim?
absolutely not. It's just the statistics
Okay,
at
can
the
you
end
listen
of
to
the
me
possibility.
day.
for a long and healthy marriage for me?
100%.
But isn't this
But
part
you'll
of-
have more than one.
But Fahima, see, actually, I think back to my parents, my grandparents' generation, they all actually got married very young, and we
Yeah.
didn't have the huge issues with divorce. So,
Yeah.
actually,
bring me on a relationship coach sort of thing, because I am
I wouldn't
certified
hire you.
relationship. I wouldn't want you as my client. There's both ways.
Even if I
Trust
gave you
me.
money.
Trust me. No, absolutely
Well,
not. I choose my
I
client.
I wish young Bob a long and happy and successful
I wish
marriage, and
everyone,
surely you should
I
wish
wish
that
everyone
too,
that,
Fahima.
and I don't care if you think whatever you think of me, and I don't care what anyone thinks of me. But you need to understand when you're young, and you need to be grown in time to have experience. You might have experience, but at the same time,
Well, we'll come
you
back
need
in
to
20
be
years'
in
time.
No, you
different.
don't. And
you
that's
need to
why
be in
that's why
different
people aren't having children,
places.
because they delay too much. Oh, we need experience. No. What grounds you is marriage. What grounds you is having
100%,
children.
I agree. And I had them when I was in my 20s. That's why they grow up with me, and people think they're like, we're like siblings.
We'll come back. We'll come back because you look so good. We'll come back in 20 years' time and see if young Bob's married to a Muslim then.
Mashallah.
Dan Wotton Outspoken is your no spin, no bias, no censorship outlet for independent news. We have no big tech backing or billionaires pulling my strings, but that does mean I need your support. So please hit subscribe on YouTube, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to Dan Wotton Outspoken on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.